Hey everyone, so welcome to another episode of Ask Shane. Really fantastic question that's come up this week via my face-to-face consultations, and it really got me thinking. Wonderful question. Lady asked me and says to me, Shane, why is it that I feel presences at certain times within my life, and why is it other times I don't feel them? Why is it they seem to visit at certain times? And I thought, you know what, that's a very profound question. The other thing that I really want to kind of share with you guys is that quite often when I kind of conclude a consultation with a client, is one of the things that they say to me, they look at me and they say to me, with a real kind of almost like a longing, almost this feeling of a kind of real kind of reaching feeling, this real kind of sense of trying to reach out. And they kind of look at me and they say, can you please tell my mum, my dad, my loved one, that I love them and I miss them? And my answer has always been the same, and always will be the same. You just have. They know what's in your heart. A really important one, that one. I really want to kind of emphasize that, for spirit to hear you, to spirit to know what's in your heart, you just need to kind of reach out. They know, they have this ability to kind of look within. They know who we are. We, in so many ways, are hugely transparent to them. We're profoundly transparent to them, so they know what's in our heart. So let's have a look at the other kind of question that stirred up this week. Why is it that spirits seem to visit at certain times? Okay, now I really want to kind of share this with you, is that what really motivates spirit to make contact, and quite often direct contact. So let me explain to you direct contact. Direct contact is where they make contact firsthand, okay? When you kind of have an experience with a medium, a psychic, a medium per se, okay? For me, I work in a kind of approach that is therapy based. It's holistic mediumship. Someone said to me the other day, says, it's almost like you're a life doctor. And I kind of looked and I smiled and thought, that's absolutely the holistic approach. What really drives spirit to make contact, and often to make that direct contact, which is them making contact with you firsthand. So that'll be a sense of hearing your name being called, smelling a smell, waking up in the middle of the night and you can feel a presence at the end of the bed, a presence in the doorway. You suddenly think of someone, or a picture frame falls over of a loved one, and then over those coming weeks you've been thinking of them, you've been sensing them, you've been feeling them, and it turns out it's their picture frame that's falling over. That's what I would call direct contact, okay? If you haven't already, jump over and go and see the 5 signs that spirit want to talk to you. Okay, I will put a link within this video as well. What is driving that contact is the drive and motivation to move your life forward. Okay, absolutely. It's about what really drives that contact is to move your life forwards, to reassure you at times of challenges, of times of struggle, of times of transition, times of kind of crisis. And we're going to cover that off as we go forwards within this video. What I've come to really recognize is there is almost an order to that contact. there are times that they visit more frequently. Have you noticed that yourself? Let's just explore them a lot further. One of the times that you know, they often make contact, and it makes complete sense to me, is, you know, they've really kind of emphasized this over time, that life is very busy, that quite often that we are moving through time, we are hugely distracted. There's 101 things to think about, there's 101 things to do, you know, so we're literally just kind of moving through time. Spirit have to, in a way, kind of work a lot harder to grab hold of their attention, but quite often spirit contact is very subtle, that sense of someone there, or that subtle sense of a smell, or you think you've heard something. You know, they have to choose their moment to be able to absolutely reinforce that contact and give it the best opportunity for that contact to land. So one of the times they choose is when you're alone. You know, the time you spend alone is one of the only times of the day, most probably, that you're not distracted by other people, or you're rushing from one thing to another, which means you're more likely, this is the key, you're more likely to notice those subtle energies, those shifts that happen around you, and therefore you notice the presence of another. If your alone time is in the evening, or even very early in the morning, you're going to be, you know, there's going to be less chance that you're distracted, because you're not preoccupying yourself with all those tasks and jobs and chores. In the evening, you know, think about it, many of us are kind of winding down for the day, and naturally letting go of all their distractions, all those chores, that to-do list and all that mental chatter. So what I've come to recognise is there's two kind of gateways within the day that contact seems to happen. There's actually three. There's three gateways within the day that contact seems to happen time and time again. You know, whenever I talk to my clients, it's one of those three gateways, and it seems to be like a pattern. That's because it's not by chance, it's not random. Spirit always say to me, it's never random, it's never by chance, it's always by design. So those three gateways are between 2 and 4 a.m. you wake up, and you wake up repeatedly, and you sense a presence. Okay, they're trying to grab your attention. First thing in the morning and in the evening. Okay, and that's because we are less distracted, we're not rushing around. Okay, it's almost, you know, there's fewer distractions are there, the mind is almost clearer. It's more likely, you know, a loved one is going to be able to kind of grab hold of your attention. You know, why is it, you know, think about this, why is it that you feel a presence in a hallway, a doorway, a stairway, a passageway? They are spaces that are completely locked into our subconscious. We're very aware of them because they're transitional spaces. They're spaces that we walk through. They're spaces that we pass through. So for spirit to kind of grab hold of attention, they kind of linger in those spaces, and they just emanate their presence. You know, and again, someone said to me, you know, I said, oh, you know, I've got a feeling of your mother standing at the top of the stairway. And she said, oh my God, you know, even my partner felt that the other evening. Why is it at the top of the stairway? Well, think about it. You're kind of moving through the house, you come out of a room, as you turn to kind of walk up the stairway, we subconsciously are checking into that space. Is there anybody there? Is it safe to proceed? What's at the top of the stairs? So, you know, spirit kind of linger there, emanate their presence, knowing that more than likely we're going to spot it. It's them saying, listen, I'm here. Okay, I'm here. Very profound. So when you're alone, okay, that's one of the times absolutely they're going to visit. The other one is when you're sleeping. So I kind of mentioned this, is that, you know, between 2 and 4 a.m. in the morning, you know, you're in a kind of altered state of consciousness. You're in the dream state, you know, so it's, in a way, it's got a similar kind of feeling of, you know, kind of being alone, because even though you might be kind of sharing that space, you're kind of within your own space, so to speak, and you are in an altered state. You're most definitely in an altered state, which is why people say, well, I don't know for sure if I dreamt it or if I actually kind of felt it or experienced it. But quite often they will kind of drop into a dream state and emanate those kind of thoughts, emanate that presence, and then you pick up and you dream of that person. You know, is it just a dream or is it contact, you know? And these are really, really important questions. They're questions absolutely to explore, you know. You know, think about this. When you wake up from a sleep, normally, so you've woke up and then you've got a sense of something there. Normally, you'll be the only one awake in your household. Okay, and if it's happening at the same time, evening after evening, or the same time over a period of time, you've got to ask yourself what's going on. You know, for me, I had a life-changing experience, which started when I was 7 years old. It was in the middle of the night and I was sound asleep. I woke up and there she stood at the end of the bed. A large, looming character. Even as I kind of share this now, I get a sense I'm not alone. You know, I've got a feeling of someone behind me. You know, it's very subtle, but I recognise it, I can sense it. You know, my heart was beating very, very fast. I felt terrified. I was only 7 years old. It was almost like I was numb to the spot. Almost like panicked, yet calm, all at the same time. The room, I remember, had such a strange feeling to it, an atmosphere that felt heavy, yet warm. And the house was so still and quiet, you know, it was only me awake. All I could hear was the sound of my own heart racing, you know, I remember that very clearly. It was almost a feeling of feeling very sick. My heart was pounding and there was this large woman standing at the end of the bed. For many years, many years, I thought I had cried out for help. And what was a mystery to me was neither my mum or my dad came to see if I was okay. You know, it's like moments, yet felt like hours. And I can remember screaming, "Go away, go away." Years later, I realised I had screamed inwardly inside my own head. I was almost like numb to the spot, frozen to the spot. It's like I didn't have the strength to literally call out, hence why mum and dad never came to see if I was okay. The lady had a strong, assertive presence, a presence of, you know, almost like purpose, as if she was communicating so much to me without saying a single word. Eventually she stepped back into the shadow and she was gone. Yet I was still convinced that she was lurking in the room, and the room had a strange, eerie feeling. What had just happened, I'd met my grandmother, who had died when I was only 2 years old. What happened the next morning, I described this lady in so much detail. My dad knew exactly who it was, and it turned out to be my grandmother, who had passed when I was only 2 years old. Now, all of that sounds, you know, really frightening, and it wasn't. It was about grabbing hold of my attention and grabbing hold of my dad's attention. Okay, that was by design, not by chance. Okay, so while your loved ones don't always intend to wake you, occasionally they will. Next time you're suddenly awoken, a visit from a loved one may be the reason. Okay, next time you kind of wake up suddenly, just think, am I sensing something within the room? Okay, so 2 times so far of when they and how they make contact. And the other thing is, within dreams, you can dream of a loved one, and within the dream there's almost a message or an answer to a dilemma or a resolution to something that you may have experienced with them within life. You know, just kind of look at the content within the dream, try to get a feel for what the dream is saying to you. The other time that they come time and time again is during a difficult time within your life. You know, you're going through a challenging time, a time of transition, a time of crisis, a relationship shift, a period of release or even letting go, a time of huge questioning, or even if you've lost someone, you know, those times, you know, you've lost someone who was your anchor, your comfort, your support, your loved one will still visit you. They will still provide this comfort. Experience tells me this. They will still provide that guidance and that support. In fact, for me, and in my experience, this is really common for grandmothers who are in the other side of spirit to make contact. Grandmothers and mothers. So going through a difficult time, it seems to be that grandmothers and mothers turn up time and time again to naturally kind of support, and it makes sense. You know, they're nurturing, they're also, you know, very kind of loving. It's that motherly vibration, you know, grandmothers especially, cast iron fortitude, attitude, backbone and resilience, and it just meets time and time again. So yeah, those difficult times, they will be there. And then, you know, all three of those things can kind of add up. So you then dream of them. You feel the presence. Why? Well, you're going through a very challenging time, and they are showing you that they're there, they're wanting to support you, they're wanting to help you the other side of that transition. The other time that I've seen time and time again that they seem to appear around that time is family memories and dates of importance. You know, weddings, engagements. You know, I can remember a lovely lady saying to me on the morning that she got married, she woke up and could smell her dad's aftershave, and then she could smell tobacco. And she just knew, and it really made her day. She just knew that her dad was with her, and in a way her dad was going to walk her down the aisle. You know, how special is that? And that come up from a conversation from the recent royal wedding here in the UK, and she was saying to me, you know, it brought a tear to her eye, seeing the Prince of Wales walk Miss Markle down the aisle, Meghan down the aisle, and she said, you know, it made me think about the time when I woke up on my wedding day and my dad was in spirit, and I could smell his aftershave and I could smell the tobacco. I knew he was walking me down the aisle, so to speak. Just absolutely beautiful. So weddings, engagements, births, another really kind of thing that draws spirit close. Promotions, new job, buying your first home, moving, a child starting university, ending a bad situation, they celebrate them. You know, all of these are events that your loved ones do not want to miss. They're present, okay? You know, concerned that your mother who's passed just before the birth of your child, don't be. My heart tells me, my experiences tell me she'd be there. They do watch, okay? They are never, ever too far away. I hope you found that interesting. I hope that's kind of stirred up some thought for you. As I say, you know, over time and over these experiences, there seems to be gateways within time, or moments, if you like, in time that one, they choose by design, knowing that they are likely to grab your attention, and those other times where we're going through certain with experiences within our lives that they are never too far away. So I'm going to leave that with you. As always, if you have a question that you would like me to explore within the Ask Shane series, do comment below. Those of you that are watching this via Facebook, you can find a whole wealth of resources, a library of videos on our YouTube channel if you search Shane Gadd. And those of you who are watching this on YouTube, you want to connect with our daily content, You can find us on Facebook, Spirit Meets Adventure. All links will be within this video, and you can also find the adventuring aspect of what we do on Instagram if you search shane.gadd. I'm going to leave that with you, and as always, fantastic questions, guys. Thank you.